Hey everybody, it's Joric. Welcome back. Hope you're doing great wherever you are in the world. For those of you looking to move to Portugal, you're going to need at least a 12-month lease for some place, unless you're going to be buying property in Portugal, and to be able to accommodate any visa out there. And my question to you is, I want you to think about this. How many months are you okay paying rent on a property you are not going to be living in? And I'm not trying to get clickbait here. I'm not trying to be a catchy question. But I want those of you that have moved to Portugal, comment below. How long was it from when you signed your lease, which you need for the application at the consulate for whatever visa, to when you actually moved into the property? And where I'm going with that is, generally speaking, I don't know anybody that moved in within a month. And more likely, it's anywhere from 3 to 6 months of time have elapsed between when you submitted the application, you had the appointment in your home country consulate, and you made the move to Portugal. Now, depending on country, you might be able to get in within a few months or a couple of weeks. But I'll say, for example, in the United States, let's say you wanted to move. I'm making this video in August of 2025. If you lived on the East Coast, you could still get an appointment in the fall for certain consulates on the East Coast, of which maybe you're only going to be in that lease 4 to 6 months before and then you're able to actually get to Portugal and move into the property. If you're in San Francisco, if you're on the west side of the U.S. and you need to use San Francisco, it may be 6 to 9 months or more, depending on the available appointments that you might be paying on that lease without ever actually being in that property. It is something to certainly consider, and it's a major thing to think about because it's a huge expense. Depending on where you may be, if you're going to be in the major cities, like especially Lisbon, Porto, parts of the Algarve, you're going to be spending a lot on rent for a place that you're not going to be in. And whether you have it whether you have it furnished or unfurnished, that also plays into things. So a few things to consider, or some recommendations I'd love to give you. If you've moved, again, please comment below and tell us how long it was before you could get into your apartment, good or bad. But maybe if you, depending on where you are and how long it may take, you may go unfurnished, because generally speaking, you might have to pay a little more for a furnished apartment versus unfurnished, because again, you're not going to be sitting on the sofa or sleeping in the bed for months potentially. And also keep in mind, Portugal, it's often to have a multi-year rental agreement. So please keep in mind when you're looking at a place, if they present to you a 3-year contract or a 2-year, that is more typical than just a 12-month. It's actually more odd, even though for immigration purposes, all you need is a 12-month. More people in Portugal, the landlords or owners of property, are looking more for a multi-year commitment. And if you think about it, that may be the best way to go in some cases, because it may take, again, let's say it takes 6 months to a year to actually get over there from wherever you're at. All right, you already spent that on a place that you didn't get to spend 1 day in, and then you're starting year 2, which is for you year 1 of living there, but for the rental agreement, year 2. It's just something I want you to think about, because as people are still considering a move to Portugal and want to go there and experience it, that is a major concern, because it's potentially a big financial impact. And for those of you that are retired and on pensions and have more of a fixed income, it can really bite into your economics and what your budget is on a monthly basis if you're paying rent for a property you currently have, or if you're paying a mortgage, let's say you have one, and also paying rent for a property you're not in yet. So it's a smart thing to think about and build into your budget that you might be spending. You are almost always going to spend some time paying for a lease you're not going to be living in, a place. But just keep in mind, depending on where you live in the world, it may take months to get over to Portugal. And that's just going to be money eaten away on a place you haven't lived yet. So I'm not looking to change your mind on anything. I just need you to know that when you are fulfilling that, and I haven't come across anybody that's willing to backdate a lease agreement, meaning they sign it for the ability for you to be able to use it and present it at your consulate appointment, but they won't take rent from you for, let's say, 3, 6, 9, 12 months until you actually move. I haven't heard of that. Maybe that exists. I don't think so. But again, for those of you that have moved to Portugal and you have, whether you got in right away or took you a while, please comment below, because I think people need to hear some real stories from people on what some of the challenges are. As always, thank you so much for watching. Enjoy your travels.